Welcome to Ending the Stupid Gender War. This show is for intelligent, mature, non-ADHD doom-scrolling audiences only. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share. You could save somebody's life, who knows? And let us go ahead and begin, shall we? Alright, what do we have today for either stupid or completely logical valid points from either men or women? Let's go ahead and take a little bit of a dive, not so much of a deep dive. Gonna simplify things from now on, shall we? Things can get way too chaotic in here. Beginning with the women. Top 3 points now. The public space hog. Alright, what is that about? A man will occupy a physical space. Oh great, here we go. Like he's claiming land. All right, so what do they call it? Not mansplaining, but manspreading, I believe, many years ago. We're still doing that. Sprawling on public transit. Look, I mean, I gotta say right off the bat, I mean, if it's just like on purpose, being a jerk, being stupid, just spreading your legs completely, to the empty seats to your left and right, claiming that you need to air out the sack, whatever you want to say, it's not really valid. You're just being an idiot. But if you're just kind of sort of spreading your legs just to be comfortable, that's fine. If somebody's going to come up in an empty seat next to you, because there's no other place to sit or that's where they want to sit, whatever. There's a lot of different scenarios there, but let's go ahead and proceed, okay? That's just covering the obvious, the painfully obvious. Standing in the middle of a grocery aisle, holding a loud conversation in a quiet cafe. I mean, this is debatable. Sometimes, men or women are naturally a little bit louder than others. Some of them are way more louder than others. It's debatable, really, but as long as you're not being a jerk, right? Standing in front of somebody when you know they're right behind you, making it inconvenient for them to go around you. But once again, that's the obvious, right? I have to state it because some people just, wow, you'd be surprised. His existence is a declaration of dominion. Yeah, this is just a total ass. And everyone else's comfort is a negotiation he didn't attend. Her point is that men demonstrate a fundamental lack of spatial awareness and consideration, which women interpret as an unconscious assertion of priority and a disregard for shared public environments. All right, look, there's not really much here to argue. I get it, the public space hog, but women can do the same thing, okay? It doesn't only apply. This is, it applies to both sexes, both genders here. It's unisex, right? So, this isn't really a strong argument from the women here. Because women do this type of thing too. That's what I have to say about number one. Let's go ahead and move on. That's too easy. I'm kind of surprised by how easy that was. The performance helper. He won't lift a finger at home. Okay, this is interesting. But watch him sprint to help a random woman with a heavy box at the post office, for example. It's not kindness. It's a public audition for masculinity. It could be proving he's capable to strangers while willfully incompetent for his partner. Well, in this case, yes. So her point is that this selective helpfulness highlights the rage women feel watching men perform for social credit. It's not really China, but I get it. In public, while practicing strategic helplessness in private where it actually matters. Look, if that's the case, where your guy is like very helpful to other women when you're in public, right in front of you, or not when he's alone with a woman somewhere, there's a huge thick line, a huge titanium wall between being chivalrous, chivalry, being nice, right? To women or men, it doesn't matter. I hold the door open for a man or a woman. Who cares? You're being polite, right? But I'm not going to be standing there holding the door open like I work for the place, right? The store that I'm frequenting or any building that I go to. That's not my job. I'm not the doorman, right? But it doesn't matter, man or woman. If I think that it's appropriate to hold the door open or to open it for them, whatever the case is, But this isn't the case. So her argument here is legit. There's a lot of asses out there who they're not real men. They're not really gentlemen. They're not in love with their partners. So they try to get that feeling of resentment out while they're in public, trying to be all nice and courteous to other women and then be a complete you know what when he gets home with her. It's hypocrisy. It's yeah, it's the lowest of the lowest. A lot of bad words I can insert there. So you guys get the point. But that's the case in this particular case, the performance helper. Yeah, so point for the women in this particular case. Number 3, the empathy mime. In a group sharing emotional stories, a man's face will perform the exact concerned expression he's seen in movies, nodding at all the right places. But his eyes are dead. That's interesting. He's simulating empathy as a social ritual, not connecting. You can see the algorithm running behind his eyes. That's creative. Her point is that some men navigate emotional exchanges in a performative clinical way, making women feel like they're being processed by an empathetic AI rather than connecting with a human. Well, this is kind of interesting. So the empathy mime, I'm not going to run the whole thing by me again, but I have to go through a few key points here. In a group sharing emotional stories. Okay, so in a group of friends or strangers, whatever have you. So a man's face will perform the exact concerned expression seen in What does movies? What do you mean? Like just going through the motions, not really all there in the present moment? Simulating empathy as a social ritual? Like you're not. This isn't something that's man specific, men specific. What are you talking about? Not connecting? Like this is just somebody who's not all there. Maybe he's not feeling good or something. Or maybe he's just a boring guy, right? This is not even a good point here. The empathy mime. My goodness, I feel sorry for any woman who actually falls for that. Let's go ahead and shift gears to the men, shall we? Because what a snooze fest with that one. All right, so the social sniper, the first one for the men here. In a group setting, all right, a woman will give another woman a glowing compliment to her face. All right. Then the moment, oh, okay, I get this. I know where this is going. Then the moment she leaves, dissect her life choices, relationship, and outfit with surgical precision. Yeah, okay. So this is a toxic female we're talking about. The camaraderie is a live action event. The critique is the post game show. So his point is obviously that men are deeply distrustful of what they see as a two-faced social code among women, where warmth is performative and real opinions are reserved for private, brutal commentary. Well, it's not necessarily two-faced, perhaps. It could be. That's a very classic case scenario. But let's consider the exception. Maybe she's just trying to carry things, just trying to keep things non-conflictive, right? When you talk about somebody behind their back, it could be justified, right? You don't want to stir the pot in the moment because, there's consequences for doing so, right? It's not exactly always morally incorrect to do so. There are several exceptions to talking about somebody behind their back. It's not like you work for that person. It's not like you're losing respect for that person. Number one, and it's interesting because the more you talk about somebody, the more you care about that person. Now, granted, it could be in a toxic manner, as in this case scenario, supposedly, I would suppose. But it's still not specific because look at what he's mentioning. The moment she leaves, her friend, right? Dissect her life choices, relationship, and outfit with surgical precision. It depends. Is she being nasty about it? While her friend isn't there, and then when her friend gets back in the group setting, then be like changing like Two-Face, right? It depends. Some of it is justified. So I'm going to leave it at that. It really depends on the... I need more specifics here. You can't just go off of that, alone. If it's toxic, it's toxic. If it's something that she can't say in front of her friend to you, And then she says it to you out of the safety now that her friend is gone, maybe to go powder her nose in the restroom. Now, if she's speaking to the group about her friend that went to go powder her nose, in a very nasty sense, then yes, that's a toxic person, right? All right. So let's go ahead and move on to number 2. That's kind of, yeah, it is what it is. The Q saboteur. All right. I don't speak French, but we'll go ahead and see what they mean. A woman will spend 10 minutes decisively picking out items, then get to the register and perform a full panicked search for her wallet, as if its existence is a surprise, followed by a slow, methodical payment ritual. She treats the line behind her as her personal audience, not a queue of people with their own time. Oh, okay, so the queue sabotager or something. Yeah, I get it now. His point is that this performative lack of preparedness is interpreted as a blatant disregard for others' time and an unconscious sense of entitlement to public patience. Well, this goes hand in hand with number 1 for the women, right? I mean, if she's being a jerk, because it does apply to both sexes, right? That she's being a jerk, right? She's being rude. She doesn't care about other people's precious time. Yeah, but a man could do this too. Again, it's unisex, right? It goes both ways. I've seen this firsthand. Not a lot of times in my life, but a few times where I can remember, wow, go ahead and take your sweet time there, hero. Don't mind the entire line behind you. Now, sometimes it is what it is. You can't go faster than what you're doing, right? You're trying to go fast, but you don't want to go too fast to where now you're dropping things and stumbling, and now you're going to make it extra long because you're trying to process yourself at the register too fast. Or maybe you're going to forget something because you're in a panic because of the big line. I've met people with so much anxiety that they do that. They panic at the register. They're like, oh my goodness, there's a big line. There's a big line. Take a breath. It's okay. Everybody knows that you're not the problem unless you're going to make it your problem for us. But you're going to be part of the problem or part of the solution. Just go ahead and process yourself nice and easy. All right? Because that's what everybody else is going to do anyways. Sometimes it's not your fault. So stop worrying about it. Just process yourself in a timely fashion. You don't have to really panic about it. I've seen it go both ways. I've seen people who just don't give a damn and they take their sweet time knowing there's a long line behind them. And then I then I see people just completely having borderline panic attacks at the register, just trying to, oh my goodness, because of the line behind them. Like, chill out. Just be normal. And it's okay if you take a little bit extra time because you're trying to get things, there's a long line. The last thing you want to do is come back to the damn line and be like, oh, I forgot. I have to do this too. Guess who's going to be late going home? It's your turn. Better make it count because everybody else is going to make their turn count. They have plenty of time to think about it before it's their turn, right? All right, the last point here for the men. Some people are just like clowns in a circus, like just chill out, right? It is what it is. Don't make a bad situation worse, right? The consensus tyrant. Before choosing a restaurant or a movie, a woman will demand everyone's input, sparking a 45-minute circular debate. Well, this is pretty niche. Only to ultimately make the exact choice she wanted from the beginning. Why is this so funny today? I swear. These are kind of funny, I swear. The democracy was a theatrical production to validate her pre-decided preference. All right, what the heck is their point here? Seriously. So his point, this is the guy's point of view. His point is that men see this as a frustrating and inefficient ritual where the appearance of collaboration is used to mask a unilateral decision, wasting everyone's time, once again, to maintain a facade of inclusivity. Right. All right. Well, this is very niche. I can't imagine a lot of women do this. Sometimes I've seen men who are completely indecisive too. I hate to bring up unisex again, but it can go both ways. Some men make completely poor managers because of that reason. They just can't make up their mind in time. Not 45 minutes though. That's maybe an exaggeration in that aspect, but in this aspect, let's go ahead and go over just the first part and nothing more. So before choosing a restaurant, well, there's maybe a lot to choose from, right? Depends on your mood. It depends on the logistics, how many people are going with you, yada, yada. So, yeah, the restaurant could be tricky, right? It could happen to both men and women. Or a movie. Well, that should be a little bit more simple, right? But I've seen people who are going to get ready to Netflix and chill. They have a term for it, believe it or not. When you're just doom scrolling all the options that you have for Netflix, for example, or you're just looking at all the DVDs that you might have, or digital movies that you want to play, whatever the case is, and you just don't know what to play. You waste more time trying to find something to watch, and maybe in the end you just don't pick anything because your mood just changed. You know, the urge to want to watch something fades away. There's so many different things that can happen. So whether you're choosing to go to whatever restaurant or watch whatever movie or go to wherever just to get out of the house, right? You need to vacate your house. I mean, this could apply to several scenarios. This lack of, decisiveness. And especially if you have somebody to negotiate with, well, you want to go to this restaurant? And then she says, yeah, of course, honey. And then you're like, no, you really don't want to go. And they're like, no, I mean, I'll go if you want to go. And then it's like, okay, well, which restaurant do you want to go to? No, it's okay. Like, no, I just want you because you didn't react. Like, it's just such a mess when you're trying to pick at each other's minds. But if it's not that case, it's just like, she might say, yeah, let's go to that restaurant. And then after you guys go to the restaurant and come back home, I really wanted to go to this other restaurant. Why didn't you tell me? Well, because I didn't want to, it's just such a mess. And it's not really stupid. It's just a lack of maturity, right? You have to have an open mind and an open heart in a relationship. If you don't, you're just going to run into stupid disagreements and problems. And it's just, you guys aren't working as a team, And then it's like, you ask her if like, hey, you okay? I'm fine. That's false, right? She's lying to you. These little mind games, mental gymnastics, bending over backwards and doing backflips and handsprings mentally, is so terrible. An entire floor routine. It's actually a form of toxicity if you think about it, because it's like throwing a monkey wrench into the relationship, I swear. But yeah, it is like a facade, and it gets exhausting, especially if you've been together 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, heck, maybe even 1 year. And it's really that bad right off the bat. And you're considering if you guys should take it to the full lifetime or not. So yeah, number 3, it does have some validity. It's not something stupid. Number 2 from the men as well. I can see that happening, but it works both ways. So is number 3. And number 1 for the men, the group talking about somebody behind their backs. Well, men do it too. That's also unisex. And let's go ahead and cover the women really quick too with just the general, census here. So the public space hog. Well, yeah, mainly men do that, but women could do that too with their bags. They'll put all their bags in the seat next to them and be like, well, I don't know where to put my bags if you need a seat. Well, that's too bad. Sucks to be you. They can do that. And number 2 from the women, the performance helper, right? Well, women could do that too. They can treat you like garbage at home. And then they're not necessarily opening doors for men, but being extra specially nice to men outside in front of you. They could do that too. And then the empathy mime, the group sharing. Okay. So that one again was a little tricky, right? That's like, she's not all there. There you go. So she's not all there. That can apply to women too. So all 6 of these points, strangely enough, apply to both sides. That's kind of a first for this series so far. I have to point that out because it's, it's just not that easy, people. You can't be like, women this, men that. Well, make sure, number 1, okay, genius, whether you're a man or a woman, can it apply both ways? Does it go both ways? Mainly, most things that men complain about or women complain about is like a two-way street. Most of the time, it goes both ways. Just be aware of that so you don't mark yourself as an idiot online or offline, trying to bring up like, well, women this or men that. You might sound like a complete jackass if you don't know exactly that, hey, man, you do know that this goes both ways. It's not just men or women. Just a little nugget of wisdom for you guys out there if the shoe fits. And with that said, that does conclude today's show. So be sure to tune in next time for more gender war arguments, whether they're valid or stupid. Also, check out all my shows that I have here, my delicious playlists, and go ahead and start binging those. And definitely leave comments because I'm really interested in what you think. Much love, everybody.